Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. What is going on? I'm super pissed off, mate. I'm tight for time. Shorty's going on the Sunshine Coast. We're leaving in like an hour. I haven't even finished packing. I wanted to get this one out to you guys. It is Wednesday, Arvo, but I'll schedule it for Thursday. And I did this beautiful little preview before. It was fantastic, but as I have made the mistake before, I had this
comments below, and I'll make sure she sees them
in the background, and I can't hear because I don't have my headphones in a bit of a rush, and just had these pricks talking about how to deck out their car in the background while I made fantastic points about my SuperCoach side, but that's fine. We'll continue on. But yes, rare time seeing Shorty in the daylight. Wednesday afternoon, rarely sighted in the daylight hours is Shorty, but that's what it's calling for. We will be probably a couple of Maduri and lemonades in at this point, maybe a Malibu and pineapple juice. Might be the last bit of water I taste for some time, but fresh cut too. Fresh cut. So yeah, we're ready to go, but we're going to keep this relatively short and sharp. Here's a few of your questions and comments from the live on Monday night. I will go live next Tuesday. But before I dive into a couple of these names, I just want to talk a bit of philosophy for you. So I want to get a little deep with you. A lot of people asking, do I trade out, whether it's Raul or Green in weeks gone by or Stewart or what have you. Basically trading out premiums who are frustrating us, but not necessarily injured or anything like that. My thoughts on this is you've got to get the old pen and paper out and plan out who's an upgrade, who's a downgrade, and where is your final team going to form. And we should have 23 premiums. We should, whether that's a defender in a mid, dual position, or a F/forward. Ideally, I'd have the flexibility from your mid to the forward line. Just in that case, if you've got Jackson, you might need to swing him into the ruck at some point when Grundy or Gawn might get rested. They might not, but just in case it happens, I think having an F7 could be handy. So that's the way I'd go with that. But map it out and see where you land. Can you get 23 premiums and still have 2 or 3 trades left for an emergency trade, which is, I sort of refer to those ones with Steele or Raul or those types. They're more luxury trades. I sort of feel like if you're going to cut yourself so fine to 0 or 1 trades but have a complete side, you're probably better off keeping a guy like Raul. And they do respond sometimes. We've seen it with Green. Stewart's even responded, even though it hasn't been absolutely reflective in his scores. So that's the way I would play it. If you do have excess trades, then bloody go for your life, mate. You've obviously been disciplined enough to have that reward now. But someone like me, I'm a bit tighter on the trades. I'm looking at, optimistically having 24, maybe 25 trades, or premiums, I should say, if things really go my way. And some of them are some, fallen types that aren't in absolute best form. That's why they've fallen. But that's the way I'm seeing it. I think it's not really about will they bounce back or will they not. Clearly, if they're carrying something or you feel like they've got an injury concern, that's my only exception when you do pull the trigger. But guys who are just out of form, they normally bounce back, and you don't want to be left in that position. It's round 19, someone gets rested. It's round 21, someone gets injured for a couple of weeks, and then you're like, oh, geez, where's my trades now? I've got no trades left because I was trading out Matty Rowell and Tom Stewart and Tom Green a month ago. I do think also, while we're talking strategy and team structure, more advantageous to have a premium on the bench than an extra trade in the bank. I think if a Connor Rosie or whoever it might be falls into a nice price range, just grab them. Grab them at that nice price range, because when we do get a bit further on, it is a bit more difficult to just simply replace our premiums, particularly if they're just getting rested or they're just out for a week. Then you're left with that awkward decision of I've got 2 trades. I know he's back in a week. Do I hold him for this rookie who's going to hurt my overall? So much easier if you've just got a guy. He might not be your out-and-out top-tier premium, but he can come in and he'll score you a 90. Maybe you luck out and he scores 120 in the week that you need him. I think that's better than having to make a couple of trades for blokes who are maybe only missing a week each because you just don't want to cop a 0 or a sub-affected game. That's the way I'd approach finishing off our sides anyway. But in terms of, oh boy, get away from me, Toomey and what's the other bloke's name? Bloody, fuck, what is his name? Oh no, Beveridge. It's Beveridge, isn't it? These other guys, like I said, I would lean towards holding Raul and that type of thing. Luke Jackson, Oh, he is frustrating. He might be the one that, just with that role being secondary to Darcy, is just killing him. So I could understand getting rid of him. I do feel like maybe an F7 could be even more beneficial. You might be able to loophole Jackson in or out depending on the fixture, depending how he goes. Jai Simpkin, I'm not in love with him as a selection. I never have been, but I think he is a solid M9 and F7. He's at a good price. Bit of the Ben Keys about him for mine last year. A quality mid, been a gun over the years, but is no longer a priority in the midfield. He'll have his days, but sometimes gets pushed out to a flank here and there. So that's my worry with Simpkin. Comben, people asking, when do I trade him out? It's purely a break-even call. When his break-even gets to around 50 or 60 plus, that's when you make that call. He's been great for us. I don't think he's a viable F6. A couple of people floated that. I think you're going to want to upgrade him. He will be inconsistent, but he's made some really nice coin and he's in good form. Jai Caldwell, he's been fantastic. Watched him firsthand against the Cats. He looks like a prime mover. Definitely a good inclusion. The only thing I would say, I think he's a good call, but when Parrish comes back, and whenever that is, he's had a few setbacks, but will that affect, and surely it does, affect his centre bounce time in some way, shape or form? So it's to be considered, but I still think, given our forward lines, he's a good option. I certainly prefer him over the likes of, Dylan Moore and that type of thing. Charlie Curnow, I think, don't push the panic button. I can't believe he didn't dominate the Tigers, but he scored 50 somehow. He'll be better than that. He's a prime F6 or F7 option, I think. I mean, he's probably a bit better than that, but a lot of people finishing off their forward lines. It could be him. It could be Jeremy Cameron. It was a tough night for key forwards in the wet on the weekend, but prior to that, he dished out 3 scores above 90 in a row. Could be a handy F7 at a nice price. And if you're really stretched for coin, Shea Bolton or Toby Green, I know we're pushing the friendship a bit there, but that may be where it's at. You might have to go one of those guys. In terms of Lawson Humphries or Sean Maker, I slightly lean towards Humphries. I just feel like he's got better job security. Maybe it's just me being a Cat supporter. I know the side a little bit better. Having said that, Chris Scott has axed some young guys when you didn't expect it, so I wouldn't put all my faith in Chris Scott playing the youngsters. But Sean Maker looks fantastic. They both looked really good in their first games. Sean Maker was a little quieter in his second, but maybe a Saints person out there might be able to tell me a little bit better, but I feel like Humphries has got really good job security and certainly looked like he belonged at the level. He's a little older than most of the rookies too. How are we going for time here? Not too bad, but I think that's about all I want to talk about from a SuperCoach point of view. But yeah, should be a good weekend ahead with the lads going away from Wednesday to Sunday. So I think we'll go live probably on Tuesday, just juggling around a few things for my second week of the holidays. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we might go to the races, maybe watch a bit of footy. Certainly have a few beverages. So yeah, it should be nice. I think. What are we heading off? We're hitting the Uber around 5:15, 5:30, rolling into the airport. We'll probably get in relatively late tonight, but then the boys will roll into a little cocktail and it should be a bit of fun. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I think that's about all I wanted to touch on. I know it's not ideal without the teams. I'm not making any trades this week. I might put out a TikTok about some of that stuff. VC and C options. I think Dacos is the obvious and safe call for a VC. Don't mind Gawn against the Eagles. He wasn't great last week, but I think he's always a good option. Bontempelli and Butters, always good options to consider as well. But yeah, I think I'll be playing it safe with Dacos into one of those other guys. Have a good weekend. I certainly will. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.